He said I was his only one, but I wasn't even his favorite. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. When he looked at me and said I was his only one, his voice was steady, almost rehearsed in its certainty. His hand would rest on mine like an anchor, warm and convincing. In those moments, doubt felt unreasonable. Love, I told myself, was supposed to feel like trust without proof. I didn't know then that I wasn't even his favorite. We met in a quiet way, the kind of meeting that feels unremarkable until you look back and realize it changed everything. A mutual friends gathering, a casual conversation that stretched longer than it should have. He laughed easily, listened closely, and remembered small details about me that no one else ever had. When he asked for my number, it felt natural, almost inevitable. He texted first. Then he called. Then he showed up. Consistency is seductive. It makes you lower your guard without realizing it. He was present, attentive, and emotionally articulate in a way that felt rare. He spoke about honesty as if it were a personal value, something sacred. He talked about how betrayal had hurt him in the past, how loyalty mattered more than grand gestures. I listened. I believed. I learned his language of love and spoke it back to him fluently. When he asked me to be exclusive, it felt like a formality. We already acted like a couple. He framed it as respect, as choosing each other intentionally in a world full of distractions. I remember the exact words he used. "You're the only one for me. Not right now. Not at the moment. Just the only one." I smiled and said yes, unaware that the word only meant something very different to him than it did to me. At first, there were no obvious signs. No late-night disappearances, no suspicious messages lighting up his phone. He was careful. Or maybe he was simply experienced. Either way, I had no reason to question him. But love doesn't collapse all at once. It fractures quietly. It started with small absences. Replies that came hours later with vague explanations. Plans that were postponed, then canceled, then forgotten. He was always apologetic, always convincing. Work stress. Family issues. Exhaustion. I learned to accept less without realizing I was doing it. When I expressed concern, he reassured me with practiced ease. He would pull me close and tell me I was overthinking, that I mattered to him more than anyone. He said I was special, different from the rest. He said he didn't even notice other women anymore. I should have noticed how often he said things that couldn't be proven. There were moments when his attention felt divided, like I was speaking to only a part of him. His eyes would drift when I talked about my day. He remembered my favorite coffee order, but forgot things that mattered more: important dates, emotional conversations, promises he had made. Still, when he chose me even briefly, it felt intoxicating. I chased those moments without understanding why I had to. The first crack appeared one evening when he fell asleep with his phone unlocked. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't suspicious. I was simply placing his phone on the charger when a notification slid across the screen. A name I didn't recognize. A message that ended with a heart. I froze. My first instinct was to rationalize. It could be a cousin, a coworker, an old friend. I told myself that if I trusted him, I shouldn't read anything further. But trust without honesty is just self-deception. I opened the message thread, expecting clarity and finding devastation instead. The words weren't explicit, but they were intimate, familiar. The kind of tone reserved for someone who matters. Inside jokes, emotional check-ins, affection that mirrored what he gave me. What shattered me wasn't that he was talking to someone else. It was how well he was doing it. This wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. This was a parallel connection, nurtured with care. I scrolled, my hands shaking, watching weeks of conversation unfold. Compliments, reassurances, late-night confessions. He told her she made him feel understood. He told me the same thing. I put the phone down and sat there in silence, my chest tight, my thoughts racing. I didn't wake him. I didn't confront him. I needed time to process the realization that the man I trusted was living a divided emotional life. When I finally asked him about it the next day, I approached gently. I didn't accuse. I didn't raise my voice. I simply asked who she was. He didn't deny it. He minimized it. She's just someone I talk to sometimes, he said, as if that explained everything. It doesn't mean anything. I asked him why the messages sounded like they meant something. He sighed, annoyed, as if I were being unreasonable. He told me I was reading too much into things. He said I was insecure. He reminded me that I was his partner, not her. You're the one I'm with, he said. Doesn't that count? I wanted it to count. I wanted to believe that being chosen publicly outweighed being shared privately. So I stayed. That was my first mistake. The second came when I accepted his apology without requiring change. He promised to set boundaries. He promised transparency. He promised it wouldn't happen again. And for a while, it seemed like he meant it. He was more attentive, more present. He reassured me often. But reassurance without accountability is just another lie dressed as comfort. I later discovered there was another woman. Then another. Each one different. Each one fulfilling a version of him I never fully saw. One made him feel admired. Another made him feel powerful. Another offered emotional support without expectation. I was the one who stayed. That's when the truth finally settled in my chest like a stone. I wasn't his only one. I wasn't even his favorite. I was the stable one. The safe one. The one who loved him without conditions and forgave him without limits. I was the constant presence that allowed him the freedom to seek excitement elsewhere. He didn't choose me because I was special. He chose me because I was convenient. That realization hurt more than the betrayal itself. When I confronted him with everything I had learned, he didn't fight back. He didn't beg. He didn't deny. He looked relieved, almost grateful that the performance was over. I never meant to hurt you, he said. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I asked him a simple question. Why did you say I was your only one? He looked away before answering. Because it made you stay. That sentence changed me. I understood then that love without integrity is manipulation, no matter how gentle it looks. That being chosen means nothing if you're not respected. That words are worthless when actions contradict them consistently. Leaving him wasn't dramatic. There were no slammed doors or tearful goodbyes. I packed my things quietly, my movements steady, my heart strangely calm. The pain had already done its worst. In the weeks that followed, I grieved, not just the relationship, but the version of myself who accepted half-truths in exchange for affection. I mourned the time I spent trying to earn loyalty that should have been freely given. Healing didn't come from understanding him. It came from understanding myself. I learned that love should never feel like competition. That reassurance should not be necessary when honesty is present. That being someone's only one is not about exclusivity, it's about priority. Now, when I look back, I don't feel anger. I feel clarity. He didn't betray me because I wasn't enough. He betrayed me because he didn't know how to be whole. And I didn't lose him. I found myself. If he ever tells someone else that she's his only one, I hope she knows to ask a better question than I did. Not, do you choose me? But, do you honor the choice you're making? Because love isn't proven by words whispered in private. It's proven by consistency when no one is watching. And this time, I choose myself.